Hello and welcome back to the ministry. Today we're talking about fathers. In scripture, we hear, honor thy mother and thy father. The other day I was scamming the articles that I've been doing a lot of these teachings from that I wrote several years back. And I ran into this photograph that I had taken on the bus about 5.5 years ago. I had just gotten on the bus to go across town, and this young man got on the bus right after me, and he had his toddler son. Him and the toddler were interacting with each other so joyously, so happy. The kid was giggling at everything his father did. And I took a photograph of him and his son. And in it, I just got this understanding. I've been seeing a lot of things on Kingdom Marriage lately. A lot of things. And I literally, when I talk about Kingdom Marriage, I'm not sitting there talking about everything that everybody else is talking about. I'm talking about what the Lord has told me to talk about in that moment. I say what I'm supposed to say, and then I don't say nothing else. I pick up my tablet and I say, see the articles in which the Lord has shown me for that day that I need to talk about. And after I talk about that stuff, I'm done. If the Lord gives me a word like the word He just gave me, He literally gave it to me a few minutes before I recorded it. Did I record it? But I'm not sitting up here, let me give a word every single day. If He gives me a word every single day, or something I see that I have a parallel to what's actually happening in my life in that moment to what I wrote in that article, then I will release it that day. But other than that, I'm not just sitting here releasing words because I'm out here wanting to release words. Sorry. I love y'all, but I don't love y'all like that. I'm only out here because the Lord has me out here. I'm only releasing words because the Lord has me releasing words. I'm not. It's not me. I do what the Lord tells me to do, and I do no more. The Lord gave me a revelation this morning for myself that I'm going to be working on in a moment when I go back in the house. And I thank Him for having given me that revelation, because the pieces are starting to come together. I don't know exactly how this is going to fall into place, but sometimes God only gives you part of the vision, and He allows you to do the rest of the work for preparation for it. As I think about what it is that the Lord is leading me to in this season, why am I talking about men? Some of these men have really been, one, hurt. Two, maybe they didn't have the father figures in which that they wanted to have in their lives growing up. So their first essence of real fatherhood is going to be when their wives give birth to their children, and they're going to have to be fathers to these children. Meaning they're going to have to mature themselves to a degree between now and the time that their children are born, that anything that they had not let go of their previous lifestyle, they're going to have to release that and be able to give wisdom to their own kids when their kids are born. Now, yeah, when they're babies, they can't really do anything with them until they get to a point where they have cognitive recognition. A father can't really tell a 2-minute old baby how to live its life. That's not going to happen. Life advice is going to come in between the ages of 3 and 5, 6, and you're like 3, 5, and 6. They are watching their kid. The kids are watching their parents at this point. A 3-year-old is watching what their dad's doing. A 3-year-old is taking cues from what their dad is doing and how they treat their mother. So, a 3-year-old is taking cues as to what their father is doing for and to with them. Some people don't believe that a child has physical recollection at 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to tell you something. I remember when I have memories, rare memories, that I can remember things of when I was an infant and was still in diapers. And I was in diapers just anywhere from the time I was born to like 1.5, because I did not get potty trained early. My parents tried to do it, but it had to come to a point where I just did it on my own. I was having some cognitive issues that didn't go away until I was 2 years old. And all at that time, that's when I stopped using diapers. But I remember certain things that happened while I was still in diapers. Vaguely. But I remember it. We all have memory. God can give us the ability to think back and remember certain things from those young ages if he chooses to. So a child may remember certain things that their parents did, whether their fathers held them, whether their fathers did this for them, whether their fathers were attentive to them. As children, little children, if they got father's love. That's why it impressed me so much when I saw that man with his son, because of the fact that not a lot of men are that way. But it's funny, I was looking at the news, and a lot of Christians, they kind of against the news because you don't want to indoctrinate yourself with the media. But there was something I was looking at probably around June. They were talking about the stereotype against men, and there's this group of men that had gotten together because they were male father figures for their children. They had sons and daughters, but I don't know what happened with the mothers. I don't know what the issue was with the moms. There are even cases, I believe, who was it? Kevin Hart recently did a movie where he was talking about, in that movie, he showed off what it was like for a father to lose his wife. She passed away. I don't know whether it was at the birth of his daughter or something, but at the birth of his daughter, and it showed a father's love for their child. People don't understand that men care just as much as women do in certain cases. Black men are stereotyped as being deadbeat fathers, don't want to have nothing to do with their kids. People look at rappers like Future and all that kind of stuff. They got 15 baby mamas. and these things become stereotypical, but there are a lot of young black men that are actually trying to take care of their families. Men are supposed to raise up their children in which way and in which they are supposed to go. They're supposed to be the head of the household. What happens when the mother passes away? There was somebody, and I cannot think of it. I'm thinking of the Bible. One of the women passed away in childbirth. And it's escaping me which woman it was. I'm trying to think, was it Rachel when she gave birth to Benjamin? There was probably a couple of them that passed away. But it's the fathers. The way that the fathers raise their sons and their daughters upon the deaths of their wives, or even as a representation of the family. What are you doing? How are you a representation of your family? How are you becoming a representation of your family? I believe that young man's name was Kevin L. Coleman that was on that bus that day. That boy is probably 7 years old by now. We are living in a society that is dead set on incarcerating our black men so that they break up the black family and destroy the family unit, so that it can create a perpetual cycle that the sons will repeat the patterns of their parents, and or if they become incarcerated, they come out of jail and cannot get jobs, cannot maintain lifestyles afterwards. It's about destroying certain abilities for the minority excuse me, to be able to thrive in this scenario. Now you have people where you'll find that they will come into the wisdom and the understanding of what it takes to become men. I remember years ago I was reading one of my textbooks in college, and it was talking about how society will have these PSATs, MFMT, all of those standardized testings. They'll have the children go through these standardized testings. I'm sure your child has gone through it if you have children in these school systems. And what they do is, depending on how many people pass these exams, will determine what kinds of businesses that they put in that community, because 20 to 25 years later, those are the people that are going to be working in these buildings. If they do not meet the adequacy for these buildings to be built in that area, they won't even put building projects in that area, because they are already planning for these people to be the workers in those buildings. Because school does not determine whether you're going to be a business owner. School determines whether you're going to be a continual drone to the societal system of being an employer and a continual worker bee. It does not teach to the minorities how to be strong-willed people that are going to be investors and business owners. It's created to create a cyclical poverty where the black man is continually stepped on by its opposite race counterpart. Because the opposite race counterpart has a tendency to grow up in a schooling system that they are being taught how to deal with money. They are being taught how to have the right mindsets. They are being taught what it is to deal with finances. They are being sent to Ivy League schools. They are being taught that their parents are saving for trust funds for their children. All these things are being put into alignment for them, where it is not being done in the same case for minorities. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, there's a mindset that they don't have enough to even save enough to be able to do that for their children. And there's also that crabs in a barrel mentality where, how you gonna think that you gonna get out of this and I couldn't? So it's that element that they actually become jealous of their kids' ability to achieve in minority families. It's a sad factor. And you end up having parents that some men, I talked about this in a previous video, where they'll have father figures that are such authoritarians that they want to control their kids to a degree because of the fact that they see the potential in their kids and they don't want them to exceed them. You see the same thing happen in leadership, churches, and everything else. That if the person sees the potential in the child, in their mentee, in their what have you, they lord over them, operating in a Jezebelic spirit, and in order to try to prevent them from reaching a higher echelon so that they can do better than they did. And it leads the child into a survival. They're either in survival mode where they run for their life to get away from the dysfunction of that family situation, or they become people pleasers and end up attaching themselves to people that want to drain them for everything they have because of the fact that they're people pleasers, because they were not able to get that at home. T.D. Jakes has a book called He-Motions. Did I read He-Motions? I think I read He-Motions. I know I saw the sermon for He-Motions, but I think I did read He-Motions. I really need to read it again. And I got 4 credits in my Barnes & Noble. I mean, not a Barnes & Noble, Audible. So I can go back and listen to He-Motions again. It's good. For any of y'all women that are preparing for marriage, He-Motions is a good book to listen to, because it prepares you to think about the mindset that men go through as they're preparing for marriage, and how you're going to have to be able to think and deal with this man as he's going through what he's going to be going through. If you see him going through this, if you notice him going through that, it's a great way to mentally prepare yourself, because you don't know what kind of man that you're dealing with, especially depending on how the Lord has prepped you for these men. Some of y'all ain't gonna know these men that well when you meet them, and you're going to learn a lot very fast. But once you get over the euphoria of, oh, I've got my kingdom marriage, you're gonna have to deal with this man's emotions. You're gonna have to deal with this man as things start to transpire, and be able to be the voice of reason as certain things that the Lord is doing in his life transpire in order to help him emotionally get through these things. So you're going to have that emotional fortitude to be able to be there for these men. And some of these things are going to happen while your family is in the incubation process. Meaning some of y'all going to be pregnant and this man going to be going through something. And you got to think with a level head, which I know women is difficult for us to do this. We have a hard time doing this during those pretty days in the middle of the month when we hit that time of our month, post and after. When we be dealing with them mood swings and stuff. A pregnancy is that mood swings times 9 months. And we just between crying and being at peace. Our mood goes up and down. And they can't be all over the place while we all over the place. Because that's making for confusion in your household. There must be order. But knowing these things, having this wisdom, having this understanding, because God is preparing you, because what it is you're being prepared for a marriage to a man that when you get in this marriage, you had to carry that child or whatever business, whatever idea, whatever it is that the Lord has given you by yourself up until this point. It has been a lonely journey that you have had to carry the things that the Lord has given you. Mary. And even her name is an irony. Her name is Mary. Marriage. Mary. Think about that. And you've been carrying all of these things by yourself. But when this man comes into your life, you are going to be birthing the things in which you are carried for all these years. And you're going to be birthing it together. What does that have to do with the story of the young man? These men are going to becoming not only fathers in the physical, they're going to becoming fathers or leaders over the projects in which y'all have created together and projects in which you have had separately. And these things are going to come together in alignment. And he has to lead you through this. God has made sure that these men are great leaders and will have the characteristics, one, of him as the father, but to be a good father. Remember, Abraham was a father to many nations. As far as the eye could see, for all of the stars in the sky. Why? Because it was generation after generation after generation after generation. I cannot count the lineage of the amounts of generations that have come after Abraham. These men are coming into an inheritance with you. Yes, some of y'all are going to come into relationship where the man is set. He already set, fully got his stuff taken care of and together. But there's certain things that are going to be stripped from this man, because as it is in the spirit, it is in the natural. There are things that this man cannot carry as he becomes a father that are going to be stripped from him in the incoming of the marriage, and as he becomes a father, that are going to be taken away from him during your pregnancy. So we that are physically carrying the children, we're going to be going through emotional and physical distress and discomfort as we carry the children. but they're going to be in turn going through mental and emotional and physical distress as they're being stripped and emotionally dealing with the things that they need to release and let go of in order to prepare them for when the baby starts crying upon the time that it leaves your body. Right now, we as women are in a resting season. If y'all have been working extremely hard, the Lord has put you in a resting season. Go back and watch the word that I did just previously called Snow White, and I talked about in the second part Snow White's being put to sleep for the period of time until her husband came. You did it, ladies. We already did the work. We're in rest. We waiting for the God ordained spouse to come. All the words I've been getting as of lately: be aware, be alert, he's coming, look for your instructions, look for what's going to happen, because now you want to look out for him, whether it be someplace that you need to go to meet him or where he needs to come to meet you. But it's about to go down, whether it be over the phone, you about to get a phone call, whether it be that you got to go someplace, or whether he got to come to you. One of the three, something's about to occur. And this is a lot of the messages in which have been circling around me, which means husband is imminently en route to you. Previous season has been, oh, he's on the way, oh, he's on the way, oh, he's on the way. I cannot tell you how many times I've been seeing the same message about what to expect. All of the words been in alignment. I am literally at a point where I'm expecting and waiting on something to happen. I'm like, okay, Lord, just give me wisdom. Where do I need to be? What do I need to do? How I need to expect? Where I need to look? Because my phone, one of my phones is doing one thing, another phone is doing another thing. I'm like, Lord, what you doing? You know which way and where and which you want this thing to transpire. It's so funny. One of the young women I was listening to, she was talking about how she was like, Lord, I no longer have that phone number. And it's like, he has my old phone number. It's like, yes, God is like a man that he does not know how to figure out how to get this man your phone number. If God wants this man to call you, he will call the phone in which he knows that you have. If God wants this man to meet you, God knows exactly your exact longitude and latitude coordinates. He can send this man directly to you. Did you not see the video in which I released recently where I was saying that in 5 different dreams the Lord showed me this man walking up behind me. I didn't know he was coming. I didn't know where he was coming from. He came up and tapped me on the shoulder 5 different times. He was right behind me, meaning I did not see him coming. And he popped up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder like, I'm here. The men are coming, and I've seen 3 confirmations, and last night I got another confirmation. It's going to happen like this: meet, marry, babies. I've gotten specific confirmation from myself. There are some women, and it's funny, I was looking at a video even yesterday, and the woman was like, well, I thought I was going to buy this type of car. And the guy's like, no, you're going to buy a family car. She's like, but I wanted this car because it was going to be a me and Bay car. And he's like, no, you're getting a SUV because you're going to have babies. And she's like, when am I going to? Babies. Some of y'all, you might as well get over it. Say goodbye to your nice figure because it's the last time you're going to see it. Enjoy looking at it as a skinny little figure that it is right now, if you got a skinny little figure, because it's about to be blown out for all them babies that you about to give birth to. Hello. Now, if you skinny, you's about to become slim thick. So you gaining weight might actually be a good thing for your body. I know for me, I'm very skinny. And because I'm skinny, me having babies, it's a blessing into my figure, because my figure has nothing right now. I am like skinny. So when I have kids, I can actually then carve my body out the way I desire. And I don't mean surgically carve it out the way I desire. I mean exercise it out the way I desire. God doesn't make things easy sometimes. He's like, yeah, you're going to exercise. But see, I see myself biking, kickboxing, all these kinds of things. So I have a vision of what I want to do with my body. The rope tactic in the gym, lifting weights and stuff like that. I used to love the foot weights, where you put your foot on the weights, and the rower. My mother used to have a bike in the house, but yeah. And she used to do the lateral foot rower. And she would sit on the floor and then put your feet on the base pedals and roll. So these are my favorite exercises. So I know that that's going to be my go-to when I come out of my pregnancy for exercise regimen. So yeah, I got to strengthen my leg, my hand, and my arm, and this side of my body. I got to get this whole side of my body strengthened. But yeah, these men are being prepared because they're about to become fathers. So you're going to have to just speak wisdom into them and be what they need in order for them to be able to understand that they have the ability to carry the weight of being the father figure in which the Lord is preparing to make them into. And that is going to be okay. It's okay. They're going to be all right. But that was my conversation. And that was my TED Talk for the day. That was actually a covering of one of the articles that I had to do anyway, so that takes care of that. So until next time, this is Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings Ministries. Much love, faith, peace, and blessings to you. Bye-bye.